Chapter 1. The Ikigai Strategy. Have you ever imagined that you could live to be over 100 years old and still be enjoying a full, independent life? In Ikigai, a village on the island of Okinawa, Japan, people commonly look forward to aging that well. Japan has the highest life expectancy of any country, and Okinawa, and its village of Ikigai specifically, have the highest life expectancy within Japan. Okinawa has more centenarians, people who are at least 100 years old, and supercentenarians, people who are at least 110 years old, than any place in the world. Not only do they live longer, recent studies have revealed that Okinawan centenarians stay healthier longer, too. For example, they have less cancer, high blood pressure, and dementia. Women even have less severe menopause symptoms. Ikigai authors Francesc Miralles, author of many bestsellers, and Hector Garcia, a Japanese citizen and former CERN computer scientist, interviewed Ikigai's residents. Garcia and Miralles describe how time seems to have stopped in Ikigai, where everyone lives in an endless here and they found that the oldest residents of Ikigai seem to stay happier and more actively independent than the elderly of other developed countries. And in Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life, they describe their findings on why the residents of Ikigai tend to live long and happy lives, and how we can too. Garcia and Miralles found that Ikigai residents share many similarities with other residents of the world's blue zones, the places where people live the longest. But the core of the Ikigai strategy is a focus on their Ikigai, an important Japanese concept that translates to something like the happiness of always keeping busy. Your Ikigai is supposed to be the thing or things that are at the center of your purpose, passion, and vocation. It's the core inspiration for your choices and actions. The idea is that happiness that can keep you going for 100 years and more is found by staying consistently active in ways that express or relate to your Ikigai. The residents of Ikigai actively pursue their Ikigai their whole lives without retiring. In Japanese, there is no word like retire that means leaving the workforce for good, and many people never retire. Hayao Miyazaki is a great example of someone who continually pursues his Ikigai as a takumi, an artisan exemplifying elegant simplicity. As director of Studio Ghibli films, he insisted everything be drawn by hand, and he continues to spend his days drawing despite no longer working as the studio director. Miyazaki, now in his 80s, has always pursued his art because it is part of his Ikigai to create beauty, not because it was his job. Like Miyazaki, Ikigai residents pursue Ikigai with consistent activity, and they do it with a sense of relaxed calm, enjoying their sense of purpose. In the following chapters, we'll take a closer look at how to find an Ikigai and stay active in pursuit of it. We'll explore the Ikigai lifestyle, looking at how they enjoy every activity, use thoughtful moderation, and create resilient communities. The main ideas, Chapter 1. The world's longest living people focus on staying busy in ways that reflect their core life's purpose. Your Ikigai is the goal at the heart of your life's purpose and passion. To live a long and happy life, stay active in pursuit of that goal regardless of professional obligations. Chapter 2. Find your Ikigai. It might sound like a daunting task to find a goal that can keep getting you up in the morning. But your Ikigai is not something you have to create or invent. Upon reflection, everyone can discover that they have a core inspiration for the choices that they are in pursuit of. Viktor Frankl, who had been imprisoned in Auschwitz, found that this was true even for people experiencing their lowest moments. He himself discovered how important his psychology research goals were to him during his imprisonment. Frankl later developed logotherapy, a type of therapy in which the therapist might ask the patient why she hasn't committed suicide. And he found that even those who were depressed because they thought their life had no purpose could find an answer to that question. Regardless of their circumstances, everyone could name something that kept getting them up in the morning. One suicidal patient, for example, discovered that her core motivation in life was to give her paralyzed son the best life he could have. Frankl himself discovered that his Ikigai lay in the furthering and recording of his psychological research. Garcia and Miralles use the case of logotherapy patients to support the idea that we all already have a unique Ikigai to pursue. Discovering that Ikigai is extremely motivating, it's a kind of existential fuel that can keep you going. Another way you might be able to discover your Ikigai is by working backward, thinking first about the activities that get you into a flow state most easily. Being in a flow state means being completely immersed in an activity, losing all sense of time, like takumi becoming one with their art. We are at our happiest when we are engaged in activities that can absorb us this way. And these activities tend to be closely connected to our Ikigai. The next time you suddenly realize several hours have passed without your noticing, reflect on the type of activity you were just engaged in and why it had that effect on you. Does something about what you were doing and what you were doing it for resonate with you? This type of reflection can help you spend more of your time on activities that aim at your Ikigai, helping you stay active and motivated to live a long, meaningful life. The main ideas, Chapter 2. Everyone has an Ikigai already, and the first step to pursuing it is finding out what it is. In low moments, we can see our Ikigai by thinking about the reason that we haven't yet given up on life. One practical method for discovering this core goal is to reflect on the activities that make you flow. Chapter 3. Learning to flow. Ikigai. Gassier and Mirals noticed that despite being consistently active, Ejimi residents are also never in a hurry, enjoying each activity one at a time. Their unhurried enjoyment seems to reflect how free of stress the Ejimi lifestyle is. And this lack of stress may be a key component of Ejimi residents' health and longevity. Being in a constant state of stress wears on us, both mentally and physically. Researchers have found that the body reacts to stress with an immune response that's meant to attack pathogens. But it also contributes to the deterioration of healthy cells. Over time, this results in weakened immune systems and accelerated aging. Gassier and Mirals point out that, unlike Ejimi residents, much of modern society lives in a state of constant hurry and competition with others. Given this, what can we do to escape from stress and find a more leisurely pace of life? One suggestion is to limit the technology that saturates our daily lives. When we're always online and connected, it's hard to slow down and focus on a single activity. Another suggestion revisits the idea of flow activities. Activities that get us into a flow state are both stress-free and sufficiently challenging to provide a mental workout. This provides two benefits. First, reducing stress protects our healthy cells from premature deterioration. Maintaining an active mind also slows the aging process by preserving our brain and cognitive functions. In order to find flow in an activity, it needs to be challenging enough that it engages your mind, helping you avoid apathy. It also needs to be an activity that is not so hard or unclear that you worry about whether you are doing it right or achieving the objective. Many Ejimi residents spend a lot of time on such activities as gardening, cooking, and dancing. They explain that these activities help both to keep their minds sharp and to relax them. That they actively avoid stress and mental apathy helps to explain why Ejimi residents tend not to become dependent on others even into their 90s and 100s. Once you've achieved a flow state, be intentional about maintaining it. This could mean adjusting the level of challenge as you develop your skill. It also means freeing yourself from distractions. For example, phone and email notifications keep you from losing yourself in an activity, even if it is one that helps you aim at your Ikigai. Turning off notifications and deciding to check your email only once or twice a day is one important strategy for being free the rest of the time to get into flow. Similarly, we need to refrain from trying to multitask, which really only involves doing two things distractedly. For that reason, deciding on blocks of time when you will do one particular activity can help you develop a lifestyle that involves more flow. Many Ejimi residents routinely spend several hours in their gardens at the beginning of each day. Rituals and routines are a core part of Japanese culture, and for good reason. They can free us from distraction and the trap of multitasking. When you have established routines in your day, you are free from thinking about what to do next, what your goals for the day should be, and so on. That freedom allows you to get into a state of flow in whatever activity you have set aside time to do for some particular block of time. The main ideas, Chapter 3. To avoid faster aging, we need to spend more time in flow states that express our Ikigai. To find flow, we need activities that are both challenging and relaxing. Getting into flow frequently means living a structured, distraction-free lifestyle. Chapter 4. Consistent and purposeful moderation. Ikigai. Among the residents of Ejimi, consistent and purposeful moderation in diet and exercise are important. For example, most of the residents that Gassier and Mirals interviewed have their own gardens. Gardening is not only an activity many Ejimi residents engage in to find flow, but also a way to source their varied, vegetable-heavy diet. Some of the core elements of their diet include carrots, cabbage, onion, and other vegetables high in antioxidants, which protect our cells against damage and accelerated aging. Moreover, rather than using sugar, residents often sweeten foods with shikuwaser, a citrus fruit 40 times higher in antioxidants than oranges. In fact, Ejimi is Japan's largest producer of this fruit, and many residents have their own orchards full of it. The Japanese principle of haruhakai, or eating until you are 80% full, is also core to the way Ejimi residents think about food. Gassier and Mirals explain that remaining a little bit hungry in this way keeps the body from physically falling into a kind of lethargic state. One way to get into this habit is to serve meals as a variety of small plates, as is popular in Japan, rather than as appetizers, main courses, and dessert. The smaller portion size of each element encourages you to eat less, while also helping to increase the variety of vitamins and minerals in your diet. Moderation is also a central focus of how Ijimi centenarians think about their exercise. Rather than going to the gym or exercising intensely, the lifestyle of Ijimi residents naturally incorporates frequent but gentle movement. For one thing, the province of Okinawa is also the only province in Japan with no trains, which means that residents often walk or cycle where they need to go. Ijimi residents also tend to stay consistently but gently active through things like gardening and dancing. Gassier and Mirals explain that they never saw an elderly person simply sitting on a bench in Ijimi, doing nothing. As is the case with their diets, activities like dancing seem to support a long and happy lifestyle in multiple ways in Ijimi. Dancing multiple times per week provides frequent, gentle exercise that also keeps residents socially and mentally engaged. Indeed, many reported that cultivating friendships was a core part of their Ikigai, making dancing a purpose-filled activity for them. Ijimi life is full of festivals and parties involving dancing that are extremely well attended by people of all ages. Nearly everyone in Ijimi also practices radio taiso, a Japanese style of morning warm-up exercises that is meant to promote a spirit of unity among participants. The exercises focus on stretching and waking up your joints, and are usually done in small groups within communities. One core radio taiso move involves simply raising your arms above your head and then lowering them again. Gassier and Mirals point out how rarely many of us raise our arms above our heads. We spend so much time typing, reading, and so on. So, perhaps many of us need to begin to consciously and routinely practice the most basic movements of the body, such as through radio taiso. The main ideas, Chapter 4. Consistent moderation in diet and exercise in Ijimi accomplishes multiple longevity-supporting purposes. Eat whole, healthy foods until you are 80% full. Engage frequently in gentle exercise that also keeps you socially involved. Chapter 5. Long-lasting resilience. Ikigai. A long life is just that, long. To stay motivated and happy through life's ups and downs, you need resilience. In this chapter, we'll consider multiple ways that the Japanese and Ijimi residents, in particular, maintain resilience in the face of life's challenges. For one thing, like more than half of the world's blue zones, areas with unusually high life expectancy, Okinawa is an island. On an island, Gassier and Mirals point out, resources are often harder to access and residents must depend on help from another. Ijimi residents place great emphasis on yumiaru, their connections to other people. For this reason, their village is organized into moari, which are clubs or neighborhoods that operate like families. The moari give stability to the residents' social and financial lives. Each person contributes financially to the moari both to fund social functions and to help each other during hard times. If one member is in financial trouble, the group comes together to help in many ways, including by providing money to get them through. The confidence of knowing you will have that help can also enable you to live a more relaxed life, free of stress, which is so important to a long life. The residents of Ijimi place so much importance on the people around them that they focus on spending time each day fostering friendships and offering hospitality. If we only strive for perfection in accomplishing our goals, it will be much more difficult to stay resilient. What you try to create might have flaws or get broken. In response to this, the Japanese emphasize a concept called wabi-sabi, which highlights beauty in the changing and the imperfect. The idea is that we should love and value the imperfect and incomplete because such things reflect the beauty of the natural world. For example, the Japanese would place a high value on an irregular or cracked teacup because of its imperfection and incompleteness. If you focus on wabi-sabi, you can be free of worry about how your work will turn out or whether you will accomplish everything you try to. You don't have to worry about whether your craft will produce the perfect teacup. Gassier and Mirals describe how the residents of Ijimi never seem to be in a rush, despite keeping busy. There is no need to rush in what you are trying to get done if perfection and completion are not your goals. Instead, you can enjoy each moment and use it to pursue your Ikigai, without worrying about whether you will get there. This relates to another Japanese concept, Ichigo, which is about the value and uniqueness of each present moment. Accepting the fleetingness of both time and our own accomplishments makes us more resilient. It frees us to enjoy what we have now, what we can do now to aim at our Ikigai, and keeps us from the stress and worry that ages faster. Perhaps one thing Ijimi residents can teach us, then, is that living a long life is closely connected to living a happy and meaning-filled life. Rather than worrying about aging, the residents speak of being excited and motivated to live well past the age of 100, pursuing their Ikigai with each day they have.